The coroner's office identifies the victims of weekend crashes, the 3 people who died in 3 separate accidents.
Plus, a local nonprofit working to reduce the number of child care deserts. The details of the YMCA's Vision 2030 plan.
And local organizations provide a way to properly dispose of worn-out flags. The 2 places people can go to show their patriotic pride.
Live from WTVO 17. This is Eyewitness News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Wendell Edwards. We thank you for being here tonight. Tonight at 5, we have an update on a crash that killed a man in Rockford.
The Winnebago County Coroner's Office has identified the victim as 40-year-old Lenin Salazar Hernandez. He was pronounced dead Friday night at around 6:30. Salazar Hernandez was driving westbound on Harrison Avenue when he lost control of the car and crashed. He was taken to a local hospital where he later died. That crash is still under investigation.
And tonight we also know the name of the victim of a crash on Wesleyan Avenue. The coroner's office identified him as 44-year-old Reggie Klaus. Klaus was driving westbound on Wesleyan shortly after midnight Sunday when he lost control of his car and crashed. He was declared dead at the scene. His cause of death was determined to be blunt trauma. And tonight, another update to a deadly car crash from the weekend. Officials responded to a crash on East Riverside yesterday after around noon. On Sunday, 70-year-old Kevin Barber attempted to turn into Pebble Creek Trail from Riverside when he was hit by another car. Barber was pronounced dead on the scene as well.
Police are investigating a weekend shooting that left 1 teenager dead. Saturday afternoon, officers were called to reports of a shooting on Revelle Avenue. At the same time, 911 calls came in reporting gunshots on East State Street. A 19-year-old was taken to the hospital for bullet wounds where he later died. An 18-year-old was also shot but is expected to recover. Police say a group was gathered near an abandoned garage when the suspect approached, shot at the group, and then took off in a car. No arrests have been announced.
So a man is sentenced to 6 years in prison for a shooting outside of a Rockford DMV. Jakari Williams has pleaded guilty to aggravated discharge of a firearm. As part of his plea deal, multiple charges of attempted murder were dismissed. In August of 2023, police were called to a building near the DMV building on East State. Authorities say Williams was shot, the victim multiple times, outside that building.
A barn fire in Harvard last night left 6 horses dead. Crews from a dozen departments were called to a barn on Crowley Road just before midnight. They found the building fully engulfed in flames and at risk of spreading to a second barn nearby. It took firefighters nearly an hour to get the blaze under control. The cause of that fire is still under investigation. Northwest Illinois is experiencing what some are calling a child care desert. Over 1,000 parents and children in need of services. Now a new plan from a local nonprofit could help.
Eyewitnesses reporter Blake Dietz was at the Family YMCA of Northwest Illinois today to learn about Vision 2030. Blake, what are the details?
Yeah, well, the Y currently provides child care services to just over 100 kids. However, nonprofit leaders tell me that more could be done. They're now planning to expand to a larger location that could double their child care capacity. Now, the executive director of Youth Services, Stephanie Deal, says that they have a long wait list for child care services. And recent data collected shows a need for 1,200 child care slots in the area. Deal says a larger location would benefit not only families in the area, but the entire community for the better.
Employers, businesses that can't hire their staff because their staff don't have child care, or their potential staff. The school district has talked about not being able to hire teachers because after they have a baby to return back after maternity leave, they don't have child care for their kids. One of the biggest things families look for is reliable child care. And if there's not reliable child care, then they don't relocate to our area.
Now, the Y hopes to have that new child care facility open sometime in the summer of 2027. Wendell.
Thank you very much, Blake. Rockford residents kicked off the summer with a block party earlier this afternoon. The annual summer block party, welcoming in the summer season, was held at the Irving Avenue Stronghouse today. It was hosted by several community leaders and groups, including Mayor Tom McNamara of Rockford, Rockford Police, and Alderman Tamir Bell. Visitors could enjoy free food, games, music, and more. UIC College of Medicine Rockford was also on site to provide health screenings. One resident says she enjoys how this event brings the community together.
I like what everybody's doing out here. I think it's great. It gives the community to come out to meet different people and the kids too, so that they can have fun.
Today's block party ran until 4 this afternoon.
In recognition of National Flag Week, 2 local organizations are teaming up to properly retire old flags. Residents can drop off used and worn out American flags at the Winnebago County Coroner's Office, the Winnebago County Clerk's Office and Veterans Memorial Hall. After collecting the flags, they'll be properly incinerated by the Boy Scouts of America.
There is a flag code. There are proper ways that the flag is to be displayed and treated. And it is sort of what I would hope something that we could all gather around is our flag. And
if you drop off a worn flag, you can receive a free USA stick flag while supplies last.
Today marks the first day of the White House's travel ban. It applies to people in 12 different countries and tightens restrictions for 7 others. The Trump administration cites national security concerns and visitors' history of overstaying visas as the reason for the ban. In fact, the Trump administration says the basis is to keep Americans safe from terrorism. The State Department says existing visas will be honored, but any applications received starting today will only be considered if they meet exemptions. Coming up tonight at 9 and 10, Eyewitness News reporter Rhiannon Wild will tell us about how the ban could impact those here in the state line.
Technology is improving every day. We have a look at how it's impacting area sports.
When we return, how this turf tank is helping state line high schoolers.
And coming up tonight at 6, a bill that would change how seniors renew their license. The state legislation now on the governor's desk.
Temperatures made it into the upper 60s this afternoon, quite a bit cooler than those upper 70s we should be here for the middle of June. Numbers do climb, but the rise also comes with a rise in some of our thunderstorm chances. Timing goes out in the first warm forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Mimi Murphy, Wendell Edwards, Sports Director Scott Leber, and Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
We all know technology is far-reaching, and tonight part of it's touching high school sports.
So I got a chance to meet up close Freddie, the turf tank, and found out how it's helping state line schools, at least one for sure, become more efficient and productive.
Touchdown Tigers!
Long before that beautiful touchdown pass or that picture's perfect curveball, the field in question, like the athletes themselves, must be ready to go. Byron Athletic Director Jeff Milburn admits it's a lot of work.
For keeping these grounds up, we got a lot of land here in Byron, a lot of ball fields and a lot of grass area.
He's had a high-tech helper. This is the turf tank. It's a line marking, number painting, automated robot. And Milburn says it's been nothing but great.
Basically, when our guys let this thing go, they set it up and let it go paint it, the fields, and they can be doing something else while that's painting the fields.
The turf tank is built specifically to paint fields. It's about the size of a medium-sized suitcase. It is satellite driven, just like a GPS in a car, and it works faster and smarter.
It's going to cut down labor and, most importantly, time.
For example, it can paint the lines of this soccer field in about 25 minutes, way faster than a 3-person team that would normally take about 3 hours. And the lines are perfectly straight. Just look at the finished product, from a football field to a soccer field. The AD tells me that this turf tank has been a game changer. This is the second full season that it's been in use, and it's made everything just a little bit more efficient. But it's not cheap. It comes at a steep price that the AD tells me is worth every penny.
It's around $10,000 a year to keep the license and that sort of thing, but it does more than just the fields. It does our logos and that sort of thing too.
It is always ready to go, an indication of the sign of the times, where technology is not just changing how schools prepare their fields for play, but how it's streamlining its own path. Isn't that great?
That's really cool.
So I mentioned Byron's turf tank is called Freddie because it's named after the since retired activities custodian Freddie. That's actually his picture on the front. just an
That's
honor
cool.
of him.
Very nice.
There are other state line school districts too that use a turf tank, including Rockford, Belvedere, Winnebago, and South Beloit.
Very efficient. Nice. Well, temperatures got a bit cooler here in the state line after a nice weekend. When we come back, Candace lets us know what the rest of the week could look like. A full forecast coming up next.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Well, we've had some breaks in some of the cloud cover here throughout the day, but the cold front earlier allowing our winds to pick up. You can see the flag waving in the wind as we look with our Mercy SkyTrack camera here late this afternoon and evening down in Rochelle. But we've also got some sunshine, which has given our temperatures a little bit of a boost there back into the upper 60s, but we're still a good 10 or so degrees below where we should be here for the middle of June. We've also had a fair amount of cloud cover as that cold front pushes out to the east, tied into an area of low pressure that sits north across the northern Great Lakes. Little rain associated with that moving through Wisconsin, but as we get through the evening, those showers should decrease in coverage, which means our skies will turn partly cloudy through the night. Now, I mentioned that wind. It's been gusty at times and still winds gusting from the west around 25, even up to 30 miles per hour. Through the evening, those wind speeds will subside, but we'll still maintain a breeze right around 10 to 15 overnight tonight. 67 in Freeport, Rockford, 64 in Janesville, Poplar Grove, 65 right now in Rochelle. Our weather watcher Terry in Genoa, 65 degrees. No rainfall today, dew point coming down, so some drier air at 49 and a westerly wind at 16 miles per hour. As we go through the night tonight, skies will gradually begin to clear, turning partly cloudy. Overnight lows will drop down to around 51 degrees. Now tomorrow we're up to 78. We've got some sunshine, which will be nice as temperatures are back up closer to average. And again, that westerly wind around 20 to 25 miles per hour. But the downfall a bit to tomorrow. We're still dealing with the smoke and the haze from the wildfires up north. It kind of ebbs and flows over the last few days where we had some pretty thick haze throughout the weekend. Maybe it had an impact and late last week actually to your eyes, or maybe you felt a little more burning in the nose during that time. Well, that's thinned out a little bit, but I think we start to see some higher concentrations of that move in as we get some sinking air with high pressure. So most of this stays aloft into the day tomorrow. But again, we may be dealing with more of a hazy look to our sky and a smoky look too. And it's possible some of that gets mixed down close to the surface before moving out ahead of our next cold front. Now it's that next cold front on Wednesday that'll bring a return of some showers and thunderstorms, but no issues out there for tonight. And then again, tomorrow we've got a partly cloudy but hazy sky, temperatures back into the upper 70s. A little more cloud cover comes in then on Wednesday. The first part of our Wednesday going to be dry, but as that cold front moves in, there is a chance for some showers and some thunderstorms with an isolated risk that there could be a severe storm or two. Notice the marginal risk there over southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. So what does this look like on Futurecast? I think Futurecast is a little lax on the coverage, at least locally, for precipitation. I think as we get closer to about 7, 8 o'clock Wednesday evening, we could see some of those thunderstorms begin to move in. We'll likely start off as a cluster of storms out to the west over the plains and then kind of ride that front as that stalls out over northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. That boundary then becomes the focal point for additional showers and thunderstorms throughout the week. It's also the dividing line from where we've got more summer-like warmth to where temperatures will be a bit on the cooler side. So any little wobble in that boundary means a difference in our temperatures and as much as 10 degrees, and we could even see that range from north to south from the viewing area. So right now, those numbers in the 70s through the end of the week. I know it looks like a lot of rainfall. It's not a complete washout. I think our best chance for rain, at least in the short term, coming up late Wednesday into Thursday.
Thank you, Candace.
Wisconsin next with sports.
The Packers have parted ways with one of their former first-round draft picks.
Now sports with sports director Scott Lever.
The long-rumored split between the Packers and cornerback Jair Alexander has happened. The Packers have released him. The move will free up $17 million in salary space for the Packers. Injuries have taken their toll on the former first-round draft pick. Alexander missed 20 games over the last 2 seasons. He had knee surgery last year and shoulder and knee injuries 2 years ago. Alexander was an All-Pro in the 2020 and 22 seasons. In his 7 seasons with the Packers, he had 15 interceptions. The Ice Hogs have one of their first roster pieces in place for next season. They're bringing back their MVP, defenseman Kevin Fitzgerald. He's agreed to a 2-year contract. Fitzgerald played in 63 games last season. He scored 8 goals. His value to the team, though, went beyond stats. In addition to being named the team's MVP, he was also named the hardest hitter on the team. Fitzgerald is 28 years old. Former Ice Hog Gustav Forsling and the Florida Panthers will be back on the ice tonight for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final against the Edmonton Oilers. They split the first 2 games in Edmonton. Both went to overtime. Forsling says it's comforting in these games to have a big game goaltender in Sergei Bobrovsky.
He keeps us in the game so many times at key moments and making huge saves. He always gives us a chance to win every night, and yeah, he's been amazing for us.
Cubs are going to be starting up soon in Philadelphia to play ball. The Phillies are struggling. They've lost 9 of the last 10 games, but they're still 9 games above 500. The White Sox, they have tonight off. They're playing solid baseball. They won 3 of their last 4 games and against some solid teams, the Tigers and Royals. Well, Venables seeing some encouraging things from his young guys. Sox open up a series in Houston tomorrow night. That's sports. We'll be right back.
Our first WARN Interactive Radar brought to us by Rockford Glass & More. Nice and clear out there as far as the radar is concerned, and it will be for at least the next 36 hours, but we do have a chance for some thunderstorms to return later in the week. Now tonight, the wind will ease up just a little. Our temperatures overnight tonight will drop down to about 51 degrees. Tomorrow, we're back up to 78, 87 on Wednesday. You may start to notice a little more of that humidity beginning to creep up ahead of a cold front. That front bringing a chance for some showers and perhaps even a thunderstorm late Wednesday evening, and then some scattered thunderstorms through the rest of the week.
Thank you, Candace.
And thanks for watching. We'll see you at 6.